Just what would an Ireland look like that had ceased to have a functioning currency? How would we buy essentials? How would we pay for things we cannot produce? When we finally managed to cobble together a currency, what would it be worth? We think we've seen an economic slowdown, but just how slow might the economy of a country without a hard currency get?
We've moved from the breakup of the euro being a possibility to it being a probability.
I think it's pretty unlikely. You can't say never. The way things are going, there is a real possibility. But the costs of a breakup are so great for everybody, not just for Greece, Ireland, Spain, Italy, but also for Germany, that really all the politicians need to find a resolution.
We also consider the situation as grave and even as dangerous.
A large part of that conversation obviously revolved around the Eurozone crisis, and the United States stands ready to do our part.
This situation is so fragile that economists worry about accidents, where events that could be resolved in normal times spin out of control in the fraught atmosphere where trust has broken down in banks, nations and money.
Suppose one obvious accident is sometime in January, February, where Italy has to repay a large amount of debt, and they try and borrow a very large sum of money on the financial markets, and they find that at any price they can't get the money. For the other countries, they all then face a huge problem because they've got to repay debt, even if they weren't running substantial deficits.
Well, if you have a large bank going wallop, the first consequence of that is depositors will either not be able to take their deposits back out, or they will be heavily restricted in how much they can take out. A knock-on effect of that would be that depositors in other weak banks that had been mentioned in the same speculative notions prior to our bank going bust, suddenly they will take fright and pull their money. And suddenly you'll have a self-fulfilling prophecy type situation where fear gives rise to the very events that people are afraid of.
The implications of not having legal tender, however temporarily, that people can use in daily transactions and companies can use in international trade are enormous.
It's highly likely that the new Irish currency would devalue quite significantly against the euro, and that would have an impact on the value of people's savings in an international context, so that it would also have an implication in terms of the cost of imports. So if you wanted to buy a new car, that would be considerably more expensive. If you wanted to holiday abroad, that would be considerably more expensive. On the other hand, by making imports more expensive, a currency devaluation would encourage a shift towards domestic producers. They found this very much in Iceland after their crisis. So that a devaluation of the currency will A, drive our consumers towards buying more Irish, B, it will make Irish exports more competitive, and C, it will make the Irish tourist proposition far more financially attractive proposition.
As a net exporter, we might seem to be better off than other countries in the event of euro collapse. But exporting is trade, and trade requires a functioning financial system and other countries to be able and willing to buy what we're selling.
We're not like Iceland, where they catch fish and sell fish. We actually do some very complicated things with software, where we have licenses for the software, we buy the machines to develop it, we do pharmaceuticals, we buy in bits, we buy in licenses and whatever. All of these are contracts which involve international trade. And if Ireland drops out of the system, how do you trade?
And that would be the difficulty with the collapse of the euro. It would truly be a step into the unknown. We would one day emerge from the turmoil, and some suggest we would be better off. But we have no idea quite how chaotic that turmoil might be, or how long it might last.